Hi, Michelle from Stokes Nature Center here. We are on week 3 of staying home with Stokes. I hope everybody is staying happy and healthy out there. Since you couldn't join us at the Nature Center today, we thought we'd bring the Nature Center to you. So this week's topic is aquatics and freshwater ecosystems. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some things pertaining to freshwater organisms. So first off, you'll take a look at the map I'm holding up. Or if you get in the files attached in this lesson plan, you'll see a nice satellite image of Earth taken by NASA. So just take a moment, see what you notice in the picture or on this map. You'll notice the land, maybe some ice or snow, and a lot of water. So about 70% of Earth is covered with water. Right? There's a lot of water. So you would think that there's so much water on Earth that there would just be plenty of water for us and for all the living organisms here on Earth that need it. And that's actually not the case. So as you're looking at this, most of this water is ocean. So it's saline, it's not usable for us. So only about 2.5% of the water here on Earth is fresh water. Of that 2.5%, only 1% of that water is really easily accessible for us. So the rest of it might be tied up in those ice sheets and glaciers and snowfields and the other places that it's really not very easy for us to access. So for about the 6.5 billion people that live on Earth, right, there's not that much fresh water to go around. Plus, we share our water with a lot of different organisms. So when you think about all the ways you use water, you drink it, we grow our food with it. We might like to get out and swim or kayak and recreate in it. We also need to protect our water for animals like Flash here and Andy, who we'll introduce you to. So here at the Nature Center, we have Andy. Andy is an Arizona tiger salamander. Let me grab him out for you to see. Alright, Andy. So Andy here is what we call an amphibian. So that would be salamander and frogs. Now they're really cool. You'll notice he's got some kind of mud on him and he looks kind of shiny and wet. It's because they like to stay wet. They actually can breathe through their skin. Now these guys start out just like frogs. They start out as nymphs or tadpoles and then eventually go through metamorphosis and change into a salamander. Alright. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about something called an indicator species. And Andy here, our salamander, could be considered an indicator species. Go ahead and let him burrow back down in. Salamanders spend a lot of their time burrowed down in the mud. They like to be near water. So if you guys think back into the olden days, miners that worked underground, they'd use birds called canaries. So little small yellow birds. They'd have a canary, and that canary would let them know if the fumes or the air quality got bad, so that the miners could get out before they got sick. So the canary is more sensitive to pollution in the air. It would chirp or start acting sick before the miners would notice those changes in the air. So that is an indicator species. So in our freshwater streams, rivers, lakes, and ponds, we have a lot of species that we can use as indicator species, just like those canaries. So another way to think of it might be to think about an indicator light in your car. If you're driving around with mom and dad, and that check engine light comes on, that check engine light is indicating or telling them that something's wrong, right? So Andy, our salamander, and frogs, they have what's called permeable skin. So the reason the skin looks so kind of slimy and wet, as I mentioned, they breathe through it because it's permeable. So permeable means they have holes in their skin that lets them get oxygen in through their skin. It also means that there's pollution or chemicals in the water that can also leach in through their skin and make them sick, a lot sooner than some other organisms. So we're going to show you Flash now. Here you can see Flash swimming around the bottom of this tank here. So Flash is not an amphibian. He does not have permeable skin. I'll see if Flash will let me come on the rack and he's having his racks here. Flash. So Flash is a red-haired slider turtle. He's got a hard shell. He's going to have scaly skin. Alright, so he does not breathe through his skin like Andy. It's not as sensitive. He won't be able to tell us quite as soon as Andy would if there was pollution or chemicals in the water. Red-haired slider turtles, we do have some in the valley. Just another side note, these guys are actually considered, we call them an invasive species, so they've been introduced through the pet trade. We do have painted turtles that look a lot like Flash. If you were to turn a painted turtle over and look at his plastron, the bottom of his shell, it would be bright orange and yellow. Okay. Flash, the red-haired slider turtles, you might not, maybe you can barely see behind his eye. He's got a little pink stripe that can be bright red. He's getting older, and that starts fading as they get older. Alright, so that's where they get the name red-haired slider turtles. But invasive species sometimes can cause problems because they eat the food that our native species might need, and maybe they even hunt or predators to some of our native species. So it's important to try, if you have pets, just not to release them out into the wild and try and stop that. So Flash lives here at the Nature Center and is one of our education ambassadors. We'll go back to talking about, we talked about Andy's permeable skin. Flash doesn't have that, right? But we can also gauge the health of an ecosystem just by the number of animals and plants that live there. So if there's a lot of different kinds of animals and plants out in a pond, stream, river, bayou, it's probably pretty healthy. When I say healthy, I mean it's clean. There's not a lot of pollution or chemicals in that water. All right, so this week's weekend challenge is just to get outside and go to your favorite fishing spot, maybe find a new fishing spot. There's lots of places around, so I encourage you, as you're at that location, see what you can find to tell you how healthy that water that you're fishing in is. There's a lot of different kinds of fish. If you're lucky enough to find salamanders and frogs, if there's lots of insects and mackerel and vertebrates, that could be like snails, and little larvae that maybe you'll find under the rocks, then it's probably pretty healthy. If there's only maybe one or two kinds of plants or fish, not very many, then there might be some pollution in that water. So in this week's activities, I'm going to let Flash here go on back. He'll start swimming around there. In this week's activities, you'll find a link to measure your family's water footprint. As you remember at the beginning, we talked about how little of the water on this earth is actually usable. So it's important for us to try and conserve water. So there's plenty for us and plenty for animals like Flash and Andy. So check out your water usage calculator online. We'll also have an activity to create a fish biography and learn about some of our endemic fish species that we have here around the Cache Valley area, and some other fun activities. So be sure and check that folder out. And just continue using your iNaturalist app to explore the many different kinds of aquatic plants and animals that we have around here, and help you remember to look for indicator species like Andy here, our salamander, and hopefully you find a lot of diversity of species and some really healthy aquatic freshwater ecosystems here in Cache Valley this week. Thanks for joining me this week, guys, and we'll see you next week on Staying Home with Stokes. Bye.